What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast, where I'm here to break down every single episode of the new Penguin series on HBO Max. And we're here to break down episode number 4. So, full spoilers for episode 4 of The Penguin from this point forward. So, if you have not seen it, this would be a good time to pause it, save it, and then come back. So, just to recap episode 4, it's basically starts off with some flashbacks. Sophia learns from a reporter that Carmine is suspected of being the hangman, a serial killer who strangles and hangs women. Her mother had died from a similar method when she was a child. Desperate for answers, Sophia meets with the reporter privately. Oz alerts Carmine, who retaliates by framing Sophia for all the murders and having her committed to Arkham Asylum. Though she is initially confined for only 6 months, Carmine extends her stay to over a decade. She is constantly mocked by the inmates while her doctor, Ventress, subjects her to electroshock therapy. Though Ventress's associate, Dr. Julian Rush, who we have already met this season, eventually realizes Sophia is innocent and quits. The mental and physical strain eventually leads Sophia into a breakdown, and she murders her friend and cellmate, Magpie. And in the present, Sophia is extracted to safety by Rush. Having learned from Nadia that Oz murdered Alberto, Sophia decides she can trust nobody. That night, she unleashes a gas in the Falcone mansion that wipes out the entire hierarchy of the family, including Luca. She spares only Gia, her cousin's young daughter, and Vidi, whom she holds at gunpoint. And that's where the episode ends. So, overall impressions of the episode, I thought it was fucking amazing. I think this is one of the best episodes of a television show that I've ever seen. I would put it up there with the likes of Sopranos, Breaking Bad, just some of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I think part of that is because they have kind of set Sophia up to have her own episode for the last 3 episodes. And what they've done a great job of is developing her character, giving us a character that we can all fall in love with for different reasons, whether it be the acting or just what she's doing from scene to scene. And I think they've done a great job of crafting Sophia as a character through the first 3 episodes, that this episode, which pretty much focuses strictly on her, works so damn well. I don't know of a single person out there that I've talked to anyways that says Sophia and Kristen Milioti not the best thing for the Penguin show right now. I think she's the best character. I think Milioti is the best actress on the show. She's kind of overshadowing Colin Farrell at this point. I mean, going into the series, I was very excited for Colin Farrell to get some more stuff to work with and really develop and flesh out his character and really just act his ass off. And Milioti is even doing better than him. So I think it's amazing that in a show devoted to the Penguin and developing him as a character, we have another character that is overshadowing him completely. And I think Sophia is legitimately one of my favorite characters in recent memory of a TV show. And Kristen Milioti, if she doesn't win an award for this role, I don't know. I think it's going to be a fucking sham, because she is legitimately put on one of my favorite performances of the year, not in just TV shows. I'm talking about movies too. Like, favorite acting performances of the year, put her right up there. And one of the reasons why I say that is because they kind of split this episode up into the past and then the present. And I was curious to know how she would portray that character prior to her going to Arkham. Because at the time, we didn't know that she was being framed for those murders. We thought she was just fucking crazy, right? So I was curious to know how they were going to separate the two characters and make them different from the past to the present. And I loved what they did with Sophia's character in this episode. They make her a complicated character, and now you're like, well, fuck, I kind of root for her. I kind of want her to get everything that she wants, because she got fucked over by the Falcone family. And I just really loved her descent into that madness that we've come to know for the first 3 episodes. And again, it was such a great idea to spend an entire episode on Sophia. And I've mentioned it in previous episodes. I'm usually not a huge fan of TV shows, especially ones that just start off. I mean, we were 3 episodes in when they did it for Vic, and now we're doing it for Sophia. Just typically, I'm not a fan of diverting attention away from the main character for 1 to 2 episodes. It just feels kind of, sometimes you can't build these episodes to be interesting enough to warrant that diversion away from the main character. But the Penguin is crafting great characters up to this point, and I don't really give a fuck. They can legitimately do whatever they want at this point, and I don't give a shit. But back to the stark contrast between Sophia pre and post Arkham. I think it was just superb acting from Kristen Milioti to really differentiate the two characters. Beforehand, she's I don't want to say innocent or anything like that, but she looks normal. Like, look at her facial expressions and her demeanor, and she just seems like a normal person at the first half of that episode. And then as the episode rolls forward, you can legitimately see her character changing. It's not like she was just good 1 minute and then the very next she's fucking crazy. That's not how it was. No, they fully developed her character over the course of that hour-long episode, and you saw the subtle changes in her character, and I absolutely fucking loved it. But I loved the fact that they're complicating her character and making us kind of root for her in a sense. She's technically the villain of the show, but I mean, let's face it, I hope she gets everything she wants at this point. And I just loved how they changed things up here. And for the first 3 episodes, they make us think that she is the Hangman and that maybe Oz just got one over on her. Maybe he fucked her a little bit, but, probably she deserved it. And no, that's not the case. But Milioti is not the only one that had great acting in this. I want to give a shout out to Mark Strong, who comes in as Falcone. I wish they would have got John Turturro back for the series. I mean, he's only in a couple episodes. So I really wish they would have done that and kind of kept the continuity there. But I thought Mark Strong did a great job in this episode because, let's face it, he just, again, he does a lot with facial expressions, and I'm a slut for facial expression acting, I guess. Now that after a bunch of episodes and a bunch of reviews I've done, I guess I am a slut for that kind of stuff. But he's doing a lot of it with facial expressions, and you can see his demeanor change in these scenes with Sophia, where he's starting to realize that she's realizing that he is the one that killed her mother, and that frightens him. And it is not in a sense that he's trying to talk his way out of things. He just does it so calmly, and it's kind of scary at the same time. So he's able to give off this persona that he's unfucking touchable. And I think Mark Strong just did a great job of doing that and acting out those scenes in this episode. And one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode, the scenes with Sophia and Dr. Rush in his office, and then Sophia at the family dinner. Wow. So fucking good. Okay, listen, I know that I have praised Milioti for every single episode, and especially this episode, I've devoted a lot of time to saying how great her acting is. But she's putting on a masterclass of acting in those 2 scenes. Legitimately, 2 of my favorite scenes, definitely of the series so far, of the year for sure. Like, I think they just did such a great job of developing her character and making her one of the more interesting or most interesting characters in this particular universe. And these scenes work so well for me. There's a lot of tension, and you're like, fuck, what is she going to do next? And so yeah, overall, guys, absolutely loved this episode. I don't know what the scores are on this episode. I don't know if I'm legitimately the only one that's really high on this episode, but I absolutely fucking loved it. And I cannot wait for this series to continue. But guys, drop a comment down below of what you thought about episode 4 of The Penguin. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. We'd greatly appreciate that. And I will catch you next time on the next episode breakdown of The Penguin. Laters.